Welcome back to the BookEnds YouTube channel. I'm James McGowan.
Hi, I'm Jessica Faust.
We are literary agents at BookEnds who have taken our popular blog to YouTube to discuss all things publishing. And this is a long one, but Jessica had the idea to do a list of things successful authors do.
Wow, you totally threw me under the bus on this one. This is going to be long, people, and it's not my fault.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I just want to point out, I had a nice list of about 10 things. You added about 4 more. So it's a list of about 14 or 15 things. Buckle up, put this one on, do other things while you're listening to us. It's going to be a long one.
I was going to warn you. We'll try not to make it boring, though.
I don't think anybody could call us boring.
That is true.
Okay. And if you do, don't call me boring to my face.
Do
really
not put
offended.
that in the comments.
Keep it inside your head. Okay, so I think the thing to stress here is that there are no two identical publishing journeys, right? Like everybody's career starting point, ending point, it's all very different. However, we have noticed in our time working with some very successful authors that there are a list of qualities that they have most of.
Yeah, and can I also just preface this with that what I see as successful as an author is really hugely about longevity. So it's not necessarily bestseller list. It's not necessarily the household name. It's the way I see this, it's the authors who year after year after year have continued to publish, have continued to grow, have continued to build a career and a readership. And you may mention their name to your best friend. And even though this author has 25 books published, your best friend has never heard of them. But to me, that's still successful. It doesn't have to be the one name that everybody knows to be successful.
I think we're an industry that's very easily caught up in the flashy and the new. And anybody who has staying power is wildly impressive to me. Even if I've never heard of them. And when I find out 30 books, how did I not know this person? It's always impressive to me.
I will say that, and I've said this before, I don't know if I've said it on YouTube, but the proudest thing I've done as an agent are those authors who in BookEnds 20 years have continued from beginning to now to move forward, have continued to publish and build a career and stay published. Those are really the proudest thing I've done, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And this list, like I said, you might not do all of these things or have all of these qualities, but you have most of them.
Yeah.
So in no particular order, because truly there is no particular order. These are the things that we have observed. The most obvious is one that we have talked about so many times in this channel. You're probably going to roll your eyes when you hear it, but they're reading. They're reading, currently publishing books. They're staying on top of the market and the trends. And more specifically, they are reading, they're well-read, not just in their genre.
And I will say you roll your eyes, except that I hear a lot of people in this industry, authors, agents, editors, who say, I don't read, I don't have any time to read anymore. And I don't know, I've never lost my love for books.
No.
Like I hear some people do that and that just breaks my heart, but I've never lost my love for books. My bookstore bill proves that. I love reading everything still.
A UPS driver can tell you.
I got another one.
Now they're just throwing them at my door. I'm tired of it. Anyway.
But yes, so I think that, but I think also the big thing is reading outside the genre. The books who I find are most successful aren't just reading what they write. They're reading all sorts of things and also gathering ideas from them. They are thinking, using all of these other books are constantly igniting their creative side. I know it does for me. The more I read, the more I get excited about what I'm reading and the authors I'm working with and what I can help them with and how I can guide them and so on and so forth.
Well, how many times do we think about a book and be like, have you ever read this one? Like, it could really do something like that. Or we do like apply different plot techniques and voice techniques and even how books are pitched and marketed. We apply all of that to revisions for our clients and stuff. And it's really great if you do that as well while you're writing the book. So I think reading, staying on top of things is what makes writers. I think it's not a hobby. I think it's what makes you a better writer.
Yeah, it's research.
Yeah. Okay, this is a fun one. Collaborate with your agent as frequently as possible. And when we say
Yeah.
as frequently as possible, we don't mean you need to be in touch with them every single day. But on all of those touch points of your publishing career, you are consulting, collaborating, and speaking with your agent on things like what you're going to write next, on things like cover, the marketing copy, the cover copy that goes on the back cover or the jacket flap, all of that stuff, marketing ideas. You're collaborating with your business partner.
Use your resources, right? When you were unagented and you had to come up with a title for your book, you had your critique group, but you didn't have sort of the publishing side of things. Now you do. Use it. You know, it's sort of like any professional in your life. It's like if you have a mortgage broker that you worked with on your last mortgage, what are you doing online researching mortgages? If you have one person you can just call and have do that work for you. I mean, you have the expert use their knowledge.
Well, I think because publishing is so wrapped up in the creative side of our brains that it's very easy to want to take full control over that. But no author can do it all. So maybe this is another point that we're actually missing. You cannot do it all.
No.
So
Well,
being comfortable, letting it go.
Yeah. No, but definitely collaborate, have those conversations, find out what you should have the conversations about. Your agent should be able to say, hey, you know what, go talk to your editor about this. I don't know, or maybe you should bring this to your critique group. You know, if you over ask, your agent's responsibility is to set their own boundaries and let you know where they need to be involved and where they shouldn't. And then over time, you'll start to, that'll become organic between the two of you, but definitely use your agent.
Yeah, and something just to stress too, like I don't think your agent has to know everything, but they should know how to find the answers that you need.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
and you'll learn that too.
Yep.
Okay, so the next thing is that they all trust the submission process. They know that the nature of a book is to go out on submission, and it only takes one yes. Like there's a lot of anxiety wrapped up in that process, but I think we just, at the end of the day, we have to let it run its course. And every book has a different longevity and life cycle on submission, but just trusting that and collaborating with your agent and trusting that things are happening as they should is super important.
And I think the keywords you said in that are let it go.
Yes.
You know, the successful agents, again, it comes into you're the person I hired to do this. So I'm going to go and do what I do best and let you do what you do best.
Right.
It doesn't mean giving up full control, right? You still have to control your brand and, you know, run your business, but it's trusting the people you hire to do the job you hired them for. You know, I mean, it's no different than running this business for me. If I followed up with my bookkeeper and checked in on her every day and had to rerun the numbers after she run them and double and triple check everything, then what's the point of having the bookkeeper?
Yeah.
Why did I do that?
Well, and I don't think that's just on the list, but you said it doesn't mean that you have to give up full control, and it also doesn't mean that you need to be entirely out of the loop. In fact, I'm adding one here, so maybe it's my fault. Now we're up to 15.
We're getting longer.
Yeah, successful authors accept rejection. And I'm using accept because it's very easy to receive rejection, but not every author can accept it and absorb it and move forward. So I think being able to be in the loop on things and accept when you receive a rejection and then moving on with that process and just trusting the process as you were.
Agreed.
Oh, this is a good one. This is trust the professionals. It's like you said before, like you don't have to give up total control, but everybody on your publishing team has a purpose, has a job, knows how to fulfill that job, and is hopefully doing so. So you don't have to, again, be out of the loop. You should be involved and be able to give feedback on things, but you have to allow for others in the process to have creativity. And that goes for things in, you know, pulling together cover copy and the cover, right? Like we're hiring professional cover designers. They know on some level what is working. So letting
the marketing plan, the
right.
publicity plan. I mean, be involved, have your opinions, but it's similar to, I think, the way I would hope your editor approaches the editorial process. You are the professional writer. They are not. They're
Right.
giving you their insights, they're giving you their thoughts on improvement, but their job is not to write the book.
Marketing is not telling you to change all of this of your book because they don't think it's good.
Right.
So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Which is hard because I think that this goes to the hardest thing, that when you've been writing and in the querying process, I get that it's hard to give up control. But as somebody who runs this company and over time has had to give up control as we've grown and gotten bigger in order for me to actually get sleep at night, there is something so magical about letting things go and trusting that other people can do the amazing work that you hired them to do. And this is totally an aside, but I want to say this because I think this might connect, that this year, with 2 assistants working with me, my creativity has exploded this year in the way it hasn't in more than a year, which has allowed me to do these videos and blog posts, but also to come up with great new ideas for the company that I didn't have time to do because I was so busy controlling everything else. And the minute I let that go, the success that we've had here has expanded. And the same will go with your writing. You can't expand your writing and improve upon it if you're also trying to do everything else.
It is very easy to stifle somebody's productivity and creativity if you are constantly overstepping your boundaries with them.
Yeah.
And if there is freedom I mean, there's creativity and freedom, like
Yeah.
plainly put. So I think
Yeah.
just allowing those people to do it. And, I always reference picture books because it's something that comes up all the time, right? With authors and illustrators. An author who gives every single detail to the illustrator is overstepping.
Yeah.
And that illustrator is just doing what you want them to do. But there's no, like, the best picture books are born from collaboration and from the magic of not knowing every single detail and not meticulously planning every single detail. A
Yep.
good picture book comes together with a team of like 5+ people.
Yeah.
So allowing for that to happen in every process, right? Production and cover and all of that is super important.
Yeah. If you want it to turn out magically beautiful, you have to trust the people who have those roles in it instead of trying to make it all that yourself.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay, so the next thing, and also I'm going to say, letting other people do their job allows you more time to do things like our next one: make connections with other writers, readers, and booksellers. You, as an author, are running a small business and you are building a brand. And no business or brand is anything without awareness and without connections. And it's your job, and only your job, to build that.
And I
and
would
harvest
actually
that.
add to that the people within your publishing house.
Yeah,
Make that connection with your editor. Don't have all the communication go through your agent. Make that connection yourself. Same with your marketing and your publicity team, and even your cover designer and your copy, even if it's just, hey, can I get their email? I want to thank them. This is great. Or can you forward that thank you on? Making those connections, because every person you come across as part of your team, the more you connect with them, the more they want to work for and with you.
exactly. Yeah, you want to establish a brand as somebody people want to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and people want to read, and people want to support.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yeah, and I agree with you that the successful writers are connected with other writers. They stick, they've built that hopefully as they're working, but then they're connecting with them later. They're going into bookstores when their book releases,
Yeah.
just, hey, I'm on vacation here, I'm passing a bookstore. Let me just swing in and see if they have my book, and introduce myself and see if I can sign copies. It'll take like 10 minutes.
I'm going to shout out a client here because she deserves credit, but Michelle Cusalito, whose book is coming up, has a really great relationship.
Here.
Oh, it is? Oh, good.
Let me go get it so we can show it. We'll
please.
go back to this.
Oh, I cannot wait for this book to come out. It comes out on June 14th. It is fascinating and beautifully illustrated by Nicole Wong. But just to shout Michelle out, she has really great people skills, right? And she has made really great connections with her local bookstore, 8 Cousins. I'll shout them out as well. And she works with Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute. She has great relationships there. And she has allowed her team at Charlesbridge, specifically for these 2 books, to do what they do best and market the book. And she has trusted her editor and the designer. And all along that time, she has been making connections with her bookstores. And now they're doing a really great promotional campaign for pre-orders. She has events lined up with Woods Hole because she has harvested her work with them and, made really great long-lasting relationships. And if you're doing other people's jobs, you can't do stuff like that. You can't build your brand as the kind of person that is doing meaningful work that people want to support. So it's really crucial that you are like, that is a pillar of every author's job, is to be the person that is making those connections for themselves and making people like you.
Well, and the truth is, by making those connections with the booksellers and these other people, she is working in tangent with her marketing team and her sales team. She's not telling them what to do, but she's taking her own approach, and then combined, it's building a bigger.
Back to collaboration. It's a sum of its products, a sum of its parts, right? Like, that's what the best book campaigns are.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm glad I brought that up. Okay, so the next one, and again, we're not going in any particular order here, but the next one is to always look forward to your next project.
Yeah.
It is super easy. I know I'm guilty of it. It is super easy to get wrapped up in the life of the currently on submission project, or the book that is currently with a publisher. It's super easy to get wrapped up in that. The important thing to do is be like, what am I going to do next? Because there's a possibility that maybe this one doesn't sell, or this one is going to publish very soon and I don't have the next thing lined up.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have that, but also mentally to have that break from the project that you're currently working on and currently trying to place or publish or whatever the stage of that is.
Well, and I think it goes to, I'm going to break into song here, but I'm not really, but let it go.
Go for it.
No,
I think you can hit that note.
Nobody wants it. But it goes to the idea of letting it go. Like, the successful author finishes a book and they move on, because if you want to build a backlist 30 books deep, you have to keep writing. You're not going to get 30 books if you're spending 2-3 years on the same book. If you're so obsessed with what your agent is doing in the submission process that you're not writing that next book or plotting that next book or thinking about it, you're not moving forward because you're so caught up in everybody else's job. So
who is someone everybody loves? Stephen King. Dude's got like 100+ books at this point, and that's because he has never stopped looking forward.
Always. Yep.
Okay. Easy peasy. The next one is the single, I will say, the most important thing that anybody can do, and not just authors, but really anybody, is to treat others on their team with kindness and respect. Especially now, right? Like, we're all in an industry where things are tough. So just giving people grace, being kind, showing respect, appreciating work, all of that is super important. And again, it makes your team want to do things for you. If the work is appreciated, I will keep doing more of it.
And it's not, we're not asking you or expecting you to do anything complicated or jump through any hoops. It's literally just pleases and thank yous and acknowledging the work that people do and not being nasty.
Yeah, that's not what you wanted to say.
But just, it's simple. It's just simple, honestly, preschool 101.
Yeah, it is. Right. But I think really it is the one thing that will take your career the farthest.
Yeah. Yes, because if your agent, it goes back to our last video, if your agent really likes you and feels respected and trusted, they want to work harder for you. Editor feels the same way. Your marketing feels the same way. Everybody wants to bend over backwards for the person they feel will also bend over backwards for them.
Also, please keep in mind, the working experience is most certainly kept in mind when books go to acquisitions, when next books go to acquisitions.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if the numbers are, if the numbers are great, you can kind of be whatever kind of asshole you want.
Yeah.
But if you're sort of on the fence, your editor's got to fight for you. They have to fight for that offer. They have to fight for that contract. And they, if you've got 20 authors to fight for, you can kind of pick and choose a little bit.
Yep, for sure. The next one is to keep learning about your craft, about the business, and about the market. This kind of goes back to currently reading and collaborating with your agent. But this is an ever-changing industry, both in what's being published, but also in contract terms and all of these things that can crop up, avenues of income. There's always new stuff happening.
Yeah.
New drama on Twitter. Like all of it is always, truthfully, all of it is always changing.
Mhm.
So being open to learning and seeing new things, all of that can really take you far.
Yeah, and just doesn't mean you have to change every time everything changes,
Oh,
but
good
just being
point.
aware, if the market is shifting, it's good to know that the market is shifting, how it's shifting, and then you can evaluate with your agent, is this something I need to be jumping on? Do I need to be making a shift based on this? Am I okay where I'm at? But
Yep,
that's part of the conversation and being ready for that.
for sure. Okay, this is my favorite one. Do not bite off more than you can chew. It is very easy to do.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
very easy to take on writing too many books, or to forget that when you sell 5 books, you have to then market and promote 5 books, or to set a deadline that you can't meet, or to
That's a
forget that
big
you
one.
have a life outside of this, or maybe a
Also,
job outside of this.
also a big one.
All
Also a
of
big one.
that, it's very easy to, we're all super excited about making books. That's what brings us here. It's
Mhm.
very easy to overcommit and overpromise. And when you do that, you are not producing the way you should.
I've had plenty of conversations with clients when they'll say, I think I can deliver by blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, are you sure? Because if I remember correctly, isn't your daughter getting married? And didn't you have that vacation plan? And do you really think
It's our job
once
to know it.
school is out, you're going to be able to write as much in the summer as you are now? And they'll be like, yeah, you're right.
Or when somebody says, oh, I just need until June 30th. I'm like, how about July 15th?
I always do the same thing.
Let's just do that.
Let me pad it for you. Let me
Right.
be the one to pad that for you.
Add
Because
2 weeks.
it's not going to change your publication date. It's not going to change anything. If we can add a little time.
But
But
also our rule is, you don't want to have to ask twice. So just take what you actually need. It's better to
also,
just extend it a little further now than to miss a second deadline.
but also you don't want to write in a rush and turn out a shitty book.
Yeah.
You can't. You just can't.
Right.
You have to feel good about your book, and you have to give yourself the time and the grace and what you need to make a great book happen, not a fast book happen.
I have asked for extensions of up to a year.
Yeah.
So
Life happens.
truly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna jump over this next one to
Okay.
say, know what's for you and what's not for you, or to know your lane, to know
Yes.
what you're good at. It's very easy to see on Twitter somebody posted that they did this, and like, I've always wanted to do that. But is that really the right step for you? Or is that something you really wanted to do? Or you just feel like somebody else is getting something that you're not? It's crucial to like eyes on your own paper.
Yeah. Know what you're good at. And actually what I want to add here, which is a little bit different from this, but similar, is know your brand. Successful authors know their brand. They know what makes them successful. And that does not necessarily mean my brand is the genre I write in.
Right.
My brand could be, I create really quirky, amazing, funny dialogue. So I can take that from this genre to this genre, but that is something I need to take with me because that's my brand.
Yeah.
I write very lyrical books. They're not necessarily big, splashy commercial, but they're very lyrical. So embrace that and know that. And when you're trying to branch out or do different things, understand what it is that you really bring to readers that is special to you.
And also that you like.
Yeah.
This is very easy again in a social media world to want what somebody else has, but you don't want to do that, or you don't like it. And I don't think it's necessary, and it's very easy to get wrapped up in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of social media, I think this is going to ruffle some feathers, but I think at this day and age, everybody should have some sort of an online presence. All successful authors do, whether it's, a really strong website, or, even an updates only Twitter. There's a lot of that is happening now, where it's just where they'll post updates about their career. But pick a social media platform and start there. people should be able to find you. I think it's weird if I can't find someone
Yeah, I
at
agree.
this point.
I mean, a website, at the least have a
At the
website,
least.
but a good website. Successful authors invest in their websites because they invest in themselves. They don't just,
16.
what?
16. That's another one.
Yes, yes. You need to, you don't need to run it. Your
No.
successful authors don't necessarily even run their own social media accounts.
Right.
You know, do you have a teenager who lives next door that's looking for a summer job?
True.
Hand them your Twitter.
Yeah.
But you don't need to be the one to do it, but you need to have it.
I think so. Yeah. Again, at the very least, a website.
Mhm.
Okay. Good one. Keep everyone, your agent, your editor, your publishing team who's relevant, apprised of everything happening.
Yeah.
From reviews that you might see, requests that you might get for review copies, things like that. Whether you have events and signings coming up, it's really important that particularly your marketing and publicity team are in the know of that, so that they're not doing the same work that you're doing elsewhere. Again, it goes back to collaboration and just keeping everybody in the loop.
But also, they can piggyback off of something and they can't if they don't know.
Yeah.
So if you have a speaking engagement in Tucson, they might be able to reach out to the organization to get books that they might be able to convince the organization to buy 500 books to go along with your speaking engagement. They might be able to contact the bookstore and say, hey, author is going to be in Tucson. You know, I checked, you don't have enough copies of the book in stock. Do you want to reorder? There's all sorts of things that they will do if they know you're doing it. But if you didn't tell them until after you were in Tucson, it's too late to get the books there.
Yep. Yeah, those are really good examples. Okay, the next one is add the editor to your publishing team. Discuss next ideas, brainstorm, ask about the market. We always talk about how authors should use their agent, but some authors are lucky enough to now work with editors, and they're just an extension of your team. It's really great to pick their brain.
Yeah.
Connect with them, find out what's working for them in their publishing house, and then how can you incorporate that into your next steps?
I love when an editor comes to me to say, you know, author and I were talking and they told me about their next idea and it's amazing. When do you think you can get it to me? Oh, you just made my job and your job so much easier.
Yep.
Because you're not writing something hoping the editor would like it. You've already pitched it to them. And
But
it's often,
there's a freedom to that.
yeah, it's often in casual conversation, like, oh, we're working on edits. This is my last book. Let me just tell you about my idea. Like, it's not like I'm going to call my editor and pitch. It's often just it sort of evolves.
Yeah. So I think you are lucky enough to work with a group of people who are making books for a living. Lean on them as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not sure, talk to your agent about whether it's appropriate to do something like that too.
Yeah.
If you're not sure. But again, if you're having casual conversation, trust those instincts.
Yep. Perfect.
Okay, that is the end of our list. I think it was 16. I didn't count. Hopefully somebody else will.
Doesn't matter.
But these are, again, not every one of these might relate to every single author or publishing journey, but these are things that we've seen our successful clients do, and keep them in mind. We hope they'll be helpful on your journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you back here next time.
Bye.